Hey, Steady Steve. Please like and subscribe. Please click on the Deck Heroes icon. Click on subscribe. 100% free. Well, brackets, blood in, blood out. Jokes. We're going to do another Commander's Guide, a top Commander's Guide, and there's somebody's giving me something to think about. And I think it's definitely worth mentioning, so we're going to do a little bit of Commander comparison as well. Anyway, listen, we already knew. I predicted it before the whole KVK. I said there's one man, RPG Risen, who's going to be number one or very close to number one. He was number one this KVK. He was number one last KVK, the last KVK before that, the last KVK before that. And if I was here in this kingdom, the last KVK before that, always number one. So in terms of best practice, there's lots of opinions out there. But when it comes to the whales, the genuine whales, and the best of the best between kingdoms, best practice is right here. Study this system, this kind of matchup, this kind of, these five commanders and their supporting commanders. But I'm going to test an idea involving Trajan Mulan a little bit later. Let's have a look anyway. Quick look. Number two. Interesting. He's got William Wallace with Luce. And he's replaced Mulan with Constantine. And he's in second place. Interesting. I'm not a massive fan of William Wallace, but listen, that smite damage is not bad at all. That smite tree is not bad at all. And obviously you got two smite commanders in a pair, so you know what I mean. If I'm not going to maximize, I'm not going to get William Wallace, let alone maximize it. But if I did, and he's definitely not awful, as proven by this gentleman here in number two place, then I would have William Luce. I totally get it. Anyway, in third place, yeah, normal service is resumed, aka same as the first place gentleman. Fourth place. So he's got ZLYSG instead of a ZL Herman Prime. Controversial. And I do acknowledge, as I've said in another video, the museum buffs for YSG, some ridiculous buffs to defense. So listen, the YSG has never been awful, and he will never will be awful, to get from earliest game to present day, as proven by this gentleman in fourth place. And basically what I'm saying is, even if you are early game, YSG will and can serve you through to a late game. You know what I mean? So you're not wasting any gold heads or anything. You're just not. So always consider a YSG. Well done. Number five. Oh, this is a what's it called? A creative little ensemble. No Guan Yu, no. Oh, it's Lambeau. So this is who he was fighting with yesterday. No Huan Yu at all. He's gone through the health reduction from Scipio Prime. William Wallace. Interesting. He kept Trajan Mulan. I did think about whether he had 4 or 5 armies. It looks like he likely had 4 armies. I can't see him. I don't know, but I don't recall, and I can't see him watching a Trajan army in there. But obviously for static battles, in controlled conditions, then yeah, everybody, including myself, has got a Trajan Mulan. Interesting. And he's got Nevsky and Joan. I do intend, not in this video, to double check if Joan's fourth skill actually does trigger when she's the secondary commander, and if it does, I'll leave it as it is, Nevsky Joan. And if it doesn't trigger, it will be Joan Nevsky for me. I'm going to do a little bit of testing later. Anyway, very good, obviously. And number 6, we've got Gorgo and Alex. So he would have replaced, there's no Luce basically, and there's no Constantine. No, he does have Luce. So there's no Trajan. So it still does have Mulan, which is paired up with Luce. no Constantine. But he does have Gorgo. Say Gorgo is a garrison commander. Put it this way, I do not recommend getting Gorgo unless you can get it for free from the Mightiest Governor. By default, I might actually get some Gorgo a little bit later, but it ain't gonna make none of my teams. I do not recommend putting any gold heads into her. It's not awful since we're in the early stages of Smite Commanders, and she's not awful at all. Not awful. But I say I wouldn't put any additional gold heads into her, and I do have her, but through past Mightiest Governor events. And anyway, an interesting little Liu Che and Mulan. Okay. I'm trying to think if I can beat him, basically. Yeah, no, I don't like that. I don't like that one. Sorry, man. Sorry, brother. But I do respect that you're well above me. You'll probably give me a good thrashing. But a thrashing when somebody's VIP 18 and VIP 17 is not just that you win. You need to win by that distance of having 15% more troops, which is a bonus you get for VIP 18. Anyway, so he's got Hogabing and Mehmet. You know how many times I've tried to incorporate a Mehmet just because of his museum boost as much as anything else. Let's have a quick look. Here we go. Yeah, troop health of 30% and additional skill damage of 10%. I have tried to incorporate him. Let's have another look at him, a closer look. Mehmet's not somebody, if you're early game, is not somebody that I recommend putting gold heads into, but he is a gold key commander, and he's going to have a place in your teams, got no doubt. Early game, I'm not going to spend too much time on this. So he's got some token damage to 5 troops. Gosh, when I first started playing this, obviously he's one of the best in game. He's one of the few commanders in game. And I say with that museum boost, it makes it slightly more relevant, but not. I think it was a 10% skill damage boost. He only gives 800, so we're talking about nearly 900 skill damage. Not even 900, nearly 900, not enough. You're never going to use him as garrison. You got no. Long story short, no. Let's not do that. Do not recommend putting Mehmet in your armies. Sorry. Where was I up to? It was 7, wasn't it? Yeah. Hugbing, I don't like anyway. He's a glass cannon, but I understand trying to give him a bit more health. I can't remember how much it was now. 20%, 30%. That might be the bigger picture thinking that he's got, but I'd rather have a Nevsky with him if I was going to roll with him, or maybe a Joan Prime, but I don't like, not for me. I respect it, not for me. Anyway, now we got Hogabing and Nevsky. I understand that variation. Everybody else is, normal service as per RPG Risen, more or less. Yeah. Hogabing and Nevsky again. Interesting. 10th. Hogabing and Joan. That's probably what I would do. But I'd never have Hogabing as just a glass cannon. It's like having a massive gun, but it's made of glass. It's some point, just too easy. You can do some damage, but also you'd be very damaged yourself. Number 11. Normal services resumed. 12. Yeah, normal service. 13. I did look at this guy, Justinian, with just anyway. I looked at him. No, it's a no. Hold on. So we got Justinian and Belisarius. There's a time when I was recommending you Belisarius. You are 2 glass cannon. You're 2 glass cannon. Not good enough, my friend. I have invested with you to a point. There'll be no more. And with Justinian, I can't believe it, man. Nah, I don't like it. Sorry, brother. Let's look at Justinian about the reason why I don't like it. And you can obviously make up your own mind. But I'm not too sure why that person would even think about Justinian. So if you know yourself, just please put it in the comments, just because I'm just not getting it. Anyway, direct damage 2,500 single target. Maybe that's what it is. That's decent. That's more than decent. Very good. If surrounded, that's 3 troops. No. Then, if this commander is leading a rally attack for the next 5 seconds, the other things are considered. But if it's not leading the rally attack, brackets, it is not. So it's only going to give you this 2,500. That's it. Forget that defense reduction. Cavalry units get up to 30% defense bonus. I love that. I like that. And I like the damage bonus, but it's just 5% on 2,500. There's no area of effects, you know what I mean? So it's limited, and you get your blah, blah, blah march speed bonus. 20% health is nice. And fair enough, you take less normal damage, and that's basically saying the counter-attack damage is less, I would say. Yawn. Restless Emperor. If a troop is on the map, cavalry units gain up to 10% bonus attack. Okay, thank you. I would think that is counter-attack. Attack and counter-attack, but you know, 10%, okay, blah, blah, blah. Whenever the troop launches a basic attack against a surrounded target, it has a 10% chance, aka a 90% chance not to, deal direct damage of 30. Say it's being surrounded by the 5, 30 times 5, oh my gosh, 150 damage. Wow! Or if it's the maximum 80 times 5, oh, that's a bit better. Is that 400? With cooldown, it's only a 10% chance. It's weak. With no expertise, cavalry units gain 10% attack. And it's got that Restless Emperor. Interesting. That's interesting. So, oh, I get it. So, that's weak. So, if your expertise, this Restless Emperor converts to something slightly more than what it was. Garbage. I can only assume that person was thinking about the rally bits and thought it would apply to non-rally type situations. I don't think it does. Where was we? Yeah, and I'm not mad keen on Belisarius Prime anymore. So yeah, that's not for me, my friend. This is the guy. This is what I'm thinking about now in terms of commander comparison. He's replaced Trajan with Richard, and that is very interesting. I want to have a look at the implications of doing that. Before that, I'll just finish off with the 15th placed player. So you got Trajan Mulan. Basically, he's replaced Joan Prime with a William. Controversial, but I totally get it, and I do love William. And as I said before, I think he can get away with a 5-1-1-1. Absolutely fine. Anyway, so the remainder of this video, that was my commander comparison, but the remainder of the video, I just want to compare Trajan with a William. Partly because I did fight that guy and I lost to him. So anyway, it deals direct damage, some token direct damage, so that can't be ignored. It's only single target though, it's only 400. What am I wanting Trajan to do though? Is he there to deal damage? Or is he there as my buffer debuffer? Right? Fair enough, if he gives damage, you'll take it. You know what I mean? You'll accept that he's going to give them the damage, but you just want him to do his primary role, I think, overall. But it's a balance, isn't it? So anyway, also, 5 nearby allied or friendly troops deal 30% more skill damage. And they gain this 50 rage every second. but we also take more damage. So the taking the more damage is the obviously contrary to what he's there for, which is to try and tank and just kind of, boost everybody else, to buff and debuff. But he does give this rage every second to 5 allied troops. Let's compare that to Richard. Anyway, so we've got this healing factor, which gives a bit of tankiness of 1,400. I was doing a video on that new Archer Commander, just hypothesizing that it's going to be 3,000. It's never going to be 3,000. It's never going to be 3,000. If anything, it's going to be 2,000. And that would be a lot. Anyway, he gives 1,400. He's got a damage reduction of 30%. Okay. And this blah, 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 mark speed reduction. But for the next 2 seconds, up to 5 enemy troops deal 30% less damage. So it's not skill damage, less damage. So that's going to be attack, counter attack, smite damage, skill damage as well. But it's only 2 seconds. What was Trajan? 3 seconds. 3 seconds. So Trajan is talking about... No. Actually, we deal more. We deal more skill damage. Richard does a debuff. Was it we take less damage? Let me just look again. I want to be absolutely sure. No. So the enemy get debuffed 30% less damage, but just for the 2 seconds. 30% less damage of all types. And Trajan, for 3 seconds, we deal more skill damage. So that's going to be us plus the other 4 armies in that setup of the canyon. So that's not even going to touch Luce and William. You know what I mean? But for all my other armies, then yeah, that would help. But he's going to be edged out over time by a Richard, probably. The more smite damage commanders that you've got, it's going to be edged by a Richard for sure. Trajan, your days are numbered. But also you get that 50 rage. But also you got that self debuff. 25, we take 25% more damage. Anyway, let's go on to the second skill. 20% defense, beautiful. 20% health. And Richard's got 15%, it's not defense, but 15% damage reduction. That's all types again. And that's continuous. All again, smite damage, skill damage, counter attack damage, everything. Damage, 15% less damage of all types. Huge. But we also do this counter attack damage, which is every other second. But fair enough. Okay, let's go on to the start off with Trajan always. Okay, 10% unit capacity bonus. That is lovely. 3 different unit types. You've got the chance of this extra direct damage of a token amount of 300 to its current target. But it also increases the damage its current target receives by 20% for 3 seconds. I don't know if it doesn't say from all sources. If that's only from us, it's not going to mean a lot. Yeah. I do like that unit capacity. And some token additional damage. Okay, let's see what Richard's got. 15% attack and more defense. I think I'd rather have more troops on balance. But, I would not turn down that defense bonus because the whole point is being tanky. Anyway, let's move on. Look at that one more time. token damage and 10% unit capacity. Okay. Okay. Fourth skill. If this commander's troop is on the map, whenever it launches a basic attack, it gains 6% defense for 10 seconds. And it can stack. That is a lot of additional defense. Yet, of course, we take more damage in that first skill during our active skill. But that is a lot of additional defense. I say at some point then that's going to be at least... My maths is really bad. I don't know how much that will stack up to. But 10%, 6% defense for 10 seconds? It's got to be over 60% then, right? At some point. Wow. That is actually quite a lot. That's very impressive. And for Richard, it boosts the healing, and let's not worry about that watchtower. Okay. There's not a massive difference between these guys. I think if you think about talent tree as well, though, we'll get onto that. With expertise, yeah, their active skill just changes basically. Trajan's column. Yeah, the active skill is what I read it to be already, but with your Richard, the active skill, we take even less damage, 5% less damage. Again, counter-attack damage, skill damage, smite damage. We take less damage. All types. We deal more damage to cav units. And also we reduce march speed. Very even, but in terms of the talent tree, let's look at Trajan. And I did a talent tree video quite recently, didn't I? So I must admit, I do love this 150 rage gained. I love it. Okay, a percentage-based chance to reduce skill damage by... it's only 15%. But it is ongoing. Anytime you get skill damage, a 50% chance to reduce by 15. That's actually not too bad. 9 extra rage. Any type of basic attack. We take 9% less skill damage of all types. We do more damage, but it's not there to do damage, and the damage it does is token damage. We use our active skill. So remember all that defense that we get from that kind of, what was it now, that fourth skill? That was every 10 seconds, we get more kind of defense. Well, we get an extra 20% defense as well whenever we use that active skill. So that is absolutely huge in terms of defense, despite that damage self debuff that it does. This helps it to also take 3% less damage. Okay, let's look at Richard's tree. And I have not looked at this tree in a very long time. Okay, it takes 3% less damage. We're not really going to worry too much about the damage that it gives, because it's there to tank. Like this. Bonus to defense. So star level is going to be 5. Anyways, token. Okay, so every other second we get 6 rage and a counter attack. 1.5% less damage. More counter attack damage, tiny amount. Take 9% less skill damage of all types. Shame that's not damage. Is what it is. When we use an active skill, yeah, we get additional healing. Any type of basic attack has 10% chance to reduce all incoming damage by 15%. 10% chance, which means a 90% chance it won't happen, and it only lasts for 1 second. That's awful. Awful. Okay, we have less than 30% troops. Whenever it launches any type of basic attack, it gains 25% rage. That's going towards that. You know, we really want to trigger the active skill in order to heal more and just be even more tanky. I might well change things to get that extra rage every other second, and again, just so I can try and trigger that active skill more often. Yeah, just trying to see what I can sacrifice. What with that? So it won't be that either. Nothing really. I'm just trying to think. Anyway, let's look at this again. If this commander's troop contains only infantry units, whenever it is hit by a basic attack, it has a 10% chance to take 20% less damage for the next 2 seconds. So when we hit by counter attack, there'll always be that chance, 10% chance to take 20% less damage. Interesting. And before that, health, which we would want, and this one is even more health. Or I could just get rid of that, give myself more health guaranteed, and give myself more rage guaranteed. You know what I mean? Instead of this 10% chance. Yeah, probably going to do that, you know. So I'm going to maximize this tree and do what I just said I was just going to do. What was this one? What's this? Defense. I do see. Right, we're going to do... Just bear with me, because I'm going to make all these changes, and then I'm going to do a sample battle, basically. See how it all pans out. It's definitely going to be this. More damage to calves. I think it was up to here, wasn't it? Get the health. We're definitely going to take this health here as well. And take this rage. So there you go. That's how my tree looks. If you want to look at it in your own time, I've already talked it through, so I don't want to take too much time. I am aware that it's already a 27-minute video. So what I would need to do actually is go into the formation, not a view, Hanyu. Yeah, so he previously would have been hollow square. That's not what his role is. His role is to replace Trajan, basically. That's what we're going to try and test. So we're going to give him all of what Trajan has. Oh. Yeah. It's a shame that when you copy across the equipment, it does not include attributes, or does not give that option. You would think that it would. N'est-ce pas? Right, so I've got Trajan's army as saved under mix. Okay, I'm going to move that across. And it's going to be... It's a shame, because now we've got this... It's not perfectly aligned to infantry, is it? So... and I didn't realise... No, it is. I was going to say, I'm sure that was maximised. I couldn't see it because it's a little white flag. Which I hope is not symptomatic of this battle to come. So we're going to try and fight that guy with this new army. Where is he? Number 14. And see if he makes any difference. I did lose to him earlier today. And hopefully we do better this time. Alright, if this takes much longer... Oh, there he is. Okay, so we're going to use some gems. We're going to challenge. We're going to remember to sub out Trajan for Richard. It's kind of good to have you back, Richard. I didn't even go into the complementary skills of Trajan and Amulan. Richard and Amulan. But I'm sure it's there. If we win, we'll have a little bit of a closer look. He's got his Richard on the outside. I'd love to kind of do so. He's got, yeah, What shall I do? What I really would want to do is something like this. But yeah, now I want that buffer debuffer in the middle, I think. Yeah, let's go for that. We'll see. So he's got that William on the outside. If I lose William, the Richard, he's got these Richard on the outside. Let's see how things go. We're carving through his Nevsky. Yeah, but he's doing some decent damage on my Richard and on my Luce. I think we got it. That's. I think we got it. Let's look at that. That's not a bad win. As I said, hands in the air. I lost to him earlier, and he had a good win on me by the same amount. I'm going to experiment basically with that Richard in the lineup. That's not bad at all. Let's change this defensive setup quickly. It's easy, isn't it? It's easy work now because you're just subbing out Trajan, replacing it with Richard. So I don't really want him there, even though my Luce Constantine, there's no shame in that at all. I mean, easily I could do something like that as well. You know what I mean? That may well work pretty well. And then I'm protecting that Nevsky, and then obviously you got Joan Prime, who also does buffing. That might not be too bad. Technically, though, I would prefer for my Guan Yu to be, protected. But in some ways, I'm thinking, does Guan Yu need to be in the middle, just so potentially he can silence the enemy in front of Richard, and also silence the person in front of him, and also silence the person to the right. I don't know exactly how it's going to group people together for Guan Yu's silencing skill, but I've experimented a lot of times moving Trajan around, and he needed to be in the middle. So that's the reason why I'm going to keep Richard in the middle. Maybe having Luce where he is with the Constantine at the top prevents people trying to do that 4-on-1 against Luce. Part of me just prefers Zooj to be in the middle because he damages 5 armies, and potentially he can damage all armies from that position. And thinking about it damage wise, he is usually my highest damage commander, so maybe he needs to be in the middle. I will experiment with Nevsky on the bottom. I hope you found that video useful. Sorry that it's so long, but I just had to experiment with that formation. We will see how it all pans out. Please like, subscribe. That is Steve, and I'm out.